Hi, everybody. It's Ray Bagnuolo. It's a Friday. It's good to be with you again. And I'm just getting over COVID, actually. It's pretty interesting to have gone through this, as maybe some of you have, or so many people have. It's a funny thing. I'm in a congregation and involved with a lot of people, so we talk a lot about things. And over the last 2.5 years, COVID has been, of course, the conversation and the concern. Um, and you learn a lot. You learn about requirements and CDC and what you have to do in the vaccine and the science and all of the all of the conditions that it causes. So you learn a lot. But once you actually have it, you learn more. And so this time of going through it and thinking about others that I know who have gone through it, it it creates a bond in a way that I can't really explain, other than when people say, I had it, and I say, I had it. It's like, oh, okay. And we understand each other a little bit better. So fortunately, I'm feeling well, and I hope everyone who contracts this virus is duly vaccinated with the 2 doses, the 2 boosters, because it really does make a difference. And so, but that whole thing also makes me think about what it's like to be a queer person, because there's so many people. I can remember when we were in the process of pushing through a lot of different changes in the church to try and make it more welcoming and inclusive, that people would stand up to give these heartfelt presentations on why queer people should be welcomed in the church. And I'd look around the audience, there'd be all of these people, and among them many queer folk who were totally capable of talking about what the presenter was. But the presenter, in fact, was an ally. I'll give the person the benefit of the doubt, but they weren't queer. And I would always ask, in the kindest way I could at some point, is why would you put someone on that podium to talk about us who isn't one of us, rather than somebody who could talk with us because they understood? It's just a small little insight that there's a little parallel there. And it reminds me how important it is for us to be in community with one another and to have conversations with each other, because otherwise we can lose things. People who want to be helpful say things that really are non sequiturs, that just don't make any sense at all. They're not trying to be hurtful. They're not trying to do anything other than be helpful, but they don't know. And I appreciate their efforts. And I think people have gotten better at learning some of this. But I had to learn it too. My response when I found out that I was gay or queer, or trying to figure out what was going on, when I was so frightened of telling anybody, and for me, I didn't know any place I could go to, and the church certainly wasn't a place, which was it's really at the core of all of these things. I mean, the fact that the church was not there for me meant that it wasn't there for others who were going through the same thing. And I know that harm. I know that deep, deep harm that people experience when they're pushed away from their church. So this kid who had no resources that he could figure out, turned to alcohol and some other stuff. And for a long time, that was the way that I medicated really the terrible pain I was going through. So that was a long time ago. I finally came to a point where I realized that wasn't such a good thing for me to do. And I came to know many people who had experienced that moment and have been part of a 12-step program now for almost 40 years, 38 years plus, and counting, day at a time. The point, though, was that I needed to be with people who understood. And once that happened, I could have conversations, whether it was about the way I was feeling physically, emotionally, the struggles I was having with the church, with family, the contradictions and the confusion that other people who were trying to be helpful seemed not to know what they were doing. And then I not only found a way to find some center, really some peace of mind, and to start to grow in an acceptance of myself, but I also came to understand who I was better, and how, of course, God loves me, and how people are trying to be helpful. And as I say so often, when we are out in our lives as queer people, when we are open, living our lives in a way that is not necessarily wanting to be in somebody's face, but that we're not going to let anybody push us out of places or the life or the fresh air to breathe, that we become a curriculum for people who don't understand. And so we try to help. And that's good to do. Once I was able to do that once I was healthy. I was able to do that once I had started to get some sense of who I was. And I am able now to be part of a church and a congregation where in this setting, they get it. And they're open not only to me, but there's other people within the congregation and the denomination who are queer and who are working to add to the resources that we've needed in the past and that people will need in the future. And primary among them, I think, are houses of faith. So we're working on it. And I hope some of this gives you some ideas about what you might do if you're trying to figure out what to do, but also to encourage you and to support and affirm to you that, you are loved. You're beautiful. God made you the way you are. We all have things to do to work on ourselves, but, who we are is primarily the thing that God is calling us to be. And I hope that you find yourself today and in all the days coming on that path with some clarity and some understanding and people around you who love you to help you guide others like you and themselves in whatever it is that's ahead. So, as always, reach out to us if you like, reach out to me, and thanks again for watching today. And remember, you are loved just the way you are. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye.